Everybody sues everybody out there.
Yeah, everybody sues
everybody
not
out
all
there.
friends all the time.
That's how most people get rich.
Yeah. B2C space, we do a lot of invisible orthodonts, etc. These big kind of giant challenger, these big companies as we're a challenger, they're suing each other. Laziness.
That's an interesting way to put it.
I've not heard that one before.
Look, I spent so much time in this problem domain understanding the patient pain points. Before we started Toothfairy, we'd probably seen 10, 20,000 patients. So we understood very well what the problem pain points are. And maybe we were too lazy to go and look at another sector and say, what's the pain points in that space? We did a recent TV appearance where next to me was sitting a gentleman who pulled his own teeth out with his garden tools.
What's my favorite candy? I actually don't have a favorite candy. I could tell you what's like my favorite chocolate bar or something.
What's your favorite chocolate bar?
Snickers.
Same. Mine is so Snickers. Do you put it in the fridge?
Sometimes.
I like mine I like them sometimes like frozen. It's weird.
Yeah, sometimes. It depends.
A crunchy Snickers bar.
If it's like really hot, which Houston can get, I would have them in the fridge because I don't want to open them and it's all sticky. And, it's stuck to the wrapper. But yeah, Snickers. But I'm not sure if I have a favorite candy. But
well, I only ask because we're about to talk a lot about teeth today. So that's where I was getting with that.
You see, I was like, why are you asking about my favorite candy? Do you have candy with you? I was looking around.
I might get some for lunch. It's about lunchtime. But no, today's founder favorite episode is about a digital tooth fairy. Or a digital dentist called Toothfairy. So technically, yes, a digital tooth fairy, but he just doesn't leave money under your pillow. We didn't get any, we didn't get anything.
We should have talked.
We should have asked that. So today is Dr. Deepak, who is the founder of Toothfairy. He has been in dentistry for most of his adult life. And he just tells us why AI might be fixing your teeth someday.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to know how AI can solve my teeth ache. So it keeps me up at night.
Everybody I've brought it up to is like, wait, what? A digital dentist? How does that work? I actually don't know. So he's going to explain it to us.
A dentist that lives in your phone. That's
Yeah. I mean, but to be fair, I have a few friends that are doctors and they, I usually send them photos of like whenever like I have a sore throat or something, I'm like, do I have to go to the doctor? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, thanks. And then I go to the doctor because I'm not going to go to the doctor and waste money if I don't have to. This is back in America. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. But how many times have you asked him about like your issues?
Yeah, I asked him, but I ask my flatmate things all the time. But I haven't necessarily been very sick enough for him to really give me. Most I just have like headaches, sore throats, like cold. I haven't had like a knock on wood. I haven't had like a real like a proper sickness or like toothpick ache. Not ever. In a while.
Yeah, fair. Well, you're healthy then.
I'm not
That's good.
Like demon child who doesn't get sick.
You're actually immortal. But no, so basically, to my knowledge, Toothfairy is like having a doctor in your pocket or a dentist in your pocket. So you basically skip the middleman. It's a consultancy.
Oh, yeah.
And you just upload a photo and see what your teeth look like. So we're gonna find out why.
Well, I mean, I hear it's an Arsenal fan, so I'm gonna,
that's gonna be your
I'm gonna unpick that, find out. Yeah. Why would you support Arsenal? No, I'm joking. I'm joking, Arsenal fans.
But he knows quite a bit of people, and it's interesting to think about how many people you would meet as a dentist, even though you can't really have a really long conversation while you're sitting on the chair with your mouth open. So
maybe he'll fix our teeth for free after this episode.
I'm about to download the app, so.
And you guys should too.
And subscribe to our channel.
All right, without further ado, we should invite our guests into the room, right?
Yes. Yeah. Dr. Deepak, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name's Deepak Aulak. I guess for my sins in my past life, I'm a dentist turned tech entrepreneur. I studied probably not far from here, but we just talked about across the river in South London. But I'm originally a Midlands boy, so from the Black Country itself. And the goal for me in life is just to make it easier for patients to just smile, access dental treatments, and that's kind of what I've been dedicating my life to for the last kind of 5 years or so.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll go into the your life goals, but you said you're from Black Country.
Yeah.
I lived in Birmingham. Yeah. You don't sound like you're from Black Country.
Yeah. I think one thing London teaches you is when you arrive here, you have to change the way you speak, otherwise nobody understands you. Nobody understands you. So slowly it gets drilled out and your accent gets polished. But if you send me back to Midlands, I'll become a yam again.
Isn't it interesting how that works? I'm from Wisconsin, so the Midwest of the States, and every time I go back, I get my accent back. And then I leave and it's just gone away. Sometimes I have the bag and I say A's, weird, but like for a little bit afterwards. But it is weird how your accent just like gets accustomed to where you're at, especially in London, because it's very
similar to me. Even when I go back to Houston, I sound a little bit more Southern, just a little bit more. And then even when I go back to Nigeria, I sound a little bit more Nigerian. And when I'm here, it's kind of neutral, I would say. But everyone always calls me out for being American. Like, oh, you're not from here. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Interesting. Well, you're known for creating a digital dentistry app, to my knowledge, is what I know about it. So I guess we can start from the beginning. Why dentistry? I mean, you said that you really want to make the world a better place for dentists, but why dentistry? Like, why does that fascinate you?
Yeah, I think, look, for me, it was always something that growing up as a child, I was always very good with my hands. And then my second favorite kind of aspect of studying was science. If you ask me what's my dream job, if I could choose, reinvent myself and do another job again, it'd probably be a builder. You know, I love hands. And dentistry has that component. You're using your hands a lot, you're constructing a lot, but then you're marrying it up with science. And that just naturally was very good for me, you know, learning the scientific aspect. So dentistry was a natural fit to me compared to something like, let's say, medicine or something that's more kind of factual. So look, I'm very lucky and fortunate to fall into that, and I enjoy it incredibly every day.
Did you have, I can't stop thinking about when I was like 5, I had that like mouth play toy. You could play dentist on it. Did you have it? You could pick out the teeth.
Yeah, I used to have
and
one
like
of those.
do all that fun stuff.
No, I didn't have that.
I had photos of me using it in kindergarten. Like I was like 5 years old.
I had a lot of Lego. I'm obsessed with miniature stuff. And then we used to have, I don't know if you guys had it when you were growing up, but that little body, and you used to use your tweezers to pick out body parts, and it would buzz.
Operation.
The operation.
And it makes the buzz every time you do it.
Anxiety. That was my first
Started
taste.
those early ages of anxiety, that's for sure. Okay, well then tell us a little bit about how Toothfairy works.
Yeah, so I think, look, we, as I said, we studied just across the river from here and at King's College, and we're just spoiled with the most amazing materials, most amazing kind of facilities. And then you get out in the system of the NHS and you understand it's the real trenches. It's incredibly difficult, and there's a large amount of patients. I think statistically, just over 2 million people every year with dental pain lasting over 2 weeks. So it's the barriers are 3 A's. We call it: affordability, access, and availability. Those 3 A's. And dentistry is really struggling. It's not the sexiest part of healthcare. It's kind of neglected. But for us, when we graduated and we went out into the field, we just thought this needs to change. And myself and my co-founder, Dr. Kian, we started Toothfairy on a premise to make treatment more accessible. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're using digital means to do that, to kind of access dentists on demand.
So how does it actually work? So if I were to be a customer and I logged onto the app and I got is it a membership model I think I saw on it? So how would I use it in a customer way? Yeah,
so there's 2 front doors. So Toothfairy, you can either access directly from yourself. You can download it from Google and say, hey, I have an emergency, or I have a prescription, or I'm interested in teeth straightening. I'm interested in something quite cosmetic. Or you can get it through an employer. So we work with just over 22,000 different employers. We're covering just over 3 million members across the UK. And the goal really for us is at any point a patient needs a dentist, whether it's just a checkup, an examination, or second opinion, they download the app. And dentistry is very visual. You send a photo through the app, and as dentists, we can see quite a lot of information. Early signs of cavities, gum disease, plaque, bacteria. And then we're able to signpost and start helping patients from that aspect. So look, people absolutely avoid going to a dentist until it's painful, until they need to. And if we can get in there earlier, it's really exciting for us to kind of prevent a lot of that dental disease.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think it is that people kind of avoid going to the dentist until it's like
expensive?
Is it because of the price tag, or is it the wait hours? Because I haven't actually gone to the dentist since I've moved to the UK. But all I've heard is just, it takes you like 3-6 months before you, before you can actually see a doctor with the NHS. So I'm very interested in how does your app kind of get rid of that waiting time for people?
Yeah, a lot of it's down to early detection. So why is dentistry so painful? And we're not talking obviously from a literal perspective, from a user experience. It's such a painful experience as you talk about. The waiting lists are so long. The cost of dentistry is rising higher than cost of living. And we're seeing a third of patients say that they just cannot afford to go to a dentist. They're delaying their dental treatment. They rather pay for their electric bills or their rising mortgage costs than that filling they need. And the problem with us in dentistry is a lot of people, by the time they visit us dentists, it's painful, it's chronic, it's now symptomatic. And we say to all of our patients, I wish you came to see me sooner. So a lot of our patients are on the app just discussing with the dentist, hey, I had a steak last night, or I had something last night and I've got an ache on this tooth. What is that? And that's early, quick intervention. Right, that's a heavy filling, avoid that, or that sign of gum disease, avoid that. A lot of dentistry can be prevented. It's like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the company Autoglass, where it's a small chip in the windscreen, pay a small amount, they'll fix it. rather
Sputtering.
than exactly right, rather than the whole windscreen falling through. A lot of people will visit the dentist when a windscreen's about to fall through. It's incredibly painful.
So it's almost like a consultancy service as well. So like you, instead of just paying for a big appointment for them to tell you that you might just have a toothache from eating a lot of sugar or something, you can actually find that out right away.
Right away. It's like a Fitbit for your teeth. And, you know, we talked about the user experience being so painful. For many individuals, their type A personalities, they're always in control. It's the first time they're laid back in a dental chair and somebody's lecturing them. They're not in control. They don't know what's occurring. And you leave that room with a bill and you say, here you go, you need this. People absolutely hate that experience. So we're trying to reinvent that and say, look, you empower yourself. You can prevent a lot of this dental disease early on.
And are the dentists that you have working with you in the app, are they, you know, on demand? Is it a 24-hour service? Because we haven't tried it out ourselves. So how would that work if my teeth is aching? Is it just like a chat bot that I'm able to like talk to someone through, you know, through the app, to a dentist? I send them pictures of my teeth. How does that process work? Yeah,
so right now it's a real dentist, not a chat bot. So you jump on any point of the day, 7 days a week. You can jump on and say, hey, I have a swelling. Hey, I have a cavity. Can you help me? Can you prescribe it? We're the UK's first health-regulated dental app, so we can prescribe within minutes, painkillers, antibiotics, anti-cavity toothpaste really early through the system. But you can also now, we're building an AI model, so we've just tested it against 50 dentists, over 100 patient cases, and the AI is just as good as the dentist at detecting plaque, so bacteria, gum disease, and early signs of cavities. And that's all really exciting for us. A simple photo, and the AI is going to tell you. And then you see a real dentist after that. They'll kind of connect you to a real dentist. So we're really using technology to marry that up and reinvent the system. And you've seen mental health, you've seen women's health, you've seen digital GPs, physios, all become digitalized. You've probably got it through your employee wellbeing services. Dentistry is that last vertical now.
Yeah, it's probably
one on you.
It's probably one of the last things that I would have thought AI would be able to help with is your teeth.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting because I am one of those people that wait until last minute to go to the dentist.
Yeah.
I remember I did go to the dentist in the UK for the first time. And they asked me how long it's been. And I was like, a really long time. And they're like, a year, 2. And I was like, 7. And they were so shocked by it. But you say that it's not really included in the healthcare, which is really interesting to me because it is part of your body. So why are, you probably don't know the answer, or maybe you do, but why is it not included in healthcare? Because even in America, it's not like you have to have dental care and healthcare separately. So why is it that teeth are just not included in that? It's just really interesting. Yeah,
it's one of those modes where if you imagine in the UK, GPs, the hospital care is free. So you can kind of go at point of care at free. Dentistry has always been some aspect of paid for. And unfortunate thing that we're seeing now is the government has kind of taken that to another level now, and every year they're asking the patients to pay more and more and more. Costs are rising higher and higher. And the government's putting less money into the system, and patients are paying more. So last year you saw an 8% increase in NHS fees. And imagine that's a cost of living crisis last year in 2023. So the government's saying to the general public, you got to pay more. The general public is saying, well, I cannot afford to pay more. And on top of that, NHS dentists are saying, we cannot work in this system. And they're handing back NHS contracts. So if there's less dentists out in the system, people are spending less money on dentistry. That divide, as you say, is getting bigger and bigger, right? And I'm always interested to hear your guys' story. You guys are not from the UK, so it's interesting to hear how dentistry is being solved in other places, in other parts of the world. I'm guessing it's more insurance-based where you guys are.
Yeah, I mean, US, everything is insurance-based.
You have to have. So I never had dental insurance. I had health insurance, so my dental didn't cover that. And I remember I wanted to just get I got my wisdom teeth taken out, and I didn't do it until they hurt. And it was really you would have had to pay $800 a tooth without dental insurance. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have $1,600 to get the bottom teeth out. So I went to the dental school, and some students took them out for half the price. And I was like, okay, this might be dangerous. They had to I had to sign a bunch of waivers, if they messed some stuff up, but I needed them out. And I also got some infections after that. So it actually wasn't a good experience, but it was cheaper. But if you don't have a regular dentist too, you have to pay for a consultation fee.
Right.
So because I didn't have dental insurance, and I wanted to get a checkup, because I didn't have a regular dentist, I still had to pay an initial consultation fee, and then pay for the cleaning, and then pay for extra x-rays if you don't have them within the 6 months.
Right.
So if I would have went in to get a cleaning, it would have been $450.
Wow.
And so then when I came here, I called the dentist in North London, and they were like, we don't have any NHS spots open. And I said, well, how much is the regular price? And they said 70. And I was like, sign me up. That's so much better than 450, immediately. And so I got it done. But then I haven't went back. And that was 8 months ago. Because for some reason, I would rather spend 70 on something else than get my teeth cleaned. Yeah. And I feel like people think of the same way. Why would they rather pay another bill than their it's your teeth. It's something that...
Yeah. It's interesting psyche, isn't it? Because it's, again, you're not from the UK, but imagine we're from the UK. We're ingrained to not pay for healthcare, so we're even more inhibited from saying, why am I paying for this? Like you said, I could spend that £70. I don't pay for my GP. I don't pay for my A&E. So dentist, why am I paying for that?
I mean, it's because of especially if you're 9 to 5, you get your pay slip, you see your NHS tax right there. You kind of don't have any say in that. So it's like, okay, if I'm paying for NHS tax, then my taxes are going to NHS. Why should I then pay for my teeth? Why should I pay for anything that involves my healthcare?
That's good. And look, I'll be honest with you. We hear as dentists, we hear it all the time. We always say, "Oh, I've never seen a poor dentist," or those kind of things. And so people think the dentists are taking the money, but we say, but look, a lot of that money you're paying, the NHS fees, does not go in the dentist's pocket. A lot of dentists are working on a contract that's 10 years ago, the same fees 10 years ago. And when people say, look, I've never seen a poor dentist, I say, well, you've never seen a stress-free dentist. It's like incredibly stressful career, short half-life of a profession, but working hours are immense as well. I guess like anybody working in the city or in finance, the remuneration might be a lot higher, but the working hours are incredible. The stress is incredible, and the stakes are incredible as well. So, but yeah, I'm always interested to hear, like yourselves, to say, like, why is that inhibitor of that money being spent?
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say, like, you've never seen a poor dentist, but I feel like dentists in America are like futuristic offices. Like, you just feel dirty in them because they're all just clean. And I feel like here it's not as like uptight. I don't know. So maybe it is a different, like, they're getting a lot of funding from dental care in the US, and here they're just not. But
I mean, people like in Cali and New York really care about their teeth.
That's what I mean. Like, every time I went to a dentist back home, I would just sit there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't belong here. Like,
you don't want to stay in anything.
They're gonna think I'm gross. Really interesting. I mean, so why did you? I mean, you studied dentistry?
Yeah.
Why start your own business? I mean, did you have a day job before that as a dentist and kind of just found yourself wanting to be an
and why
entrepreneur?
even stay within dentistry for your own business? Because we've spoken to a lot of entrepreneurs.
They just branch off.
And a lot of times, they studied chemistry, and now they're running like a retail business. They studied computer science, and now they have, some, they open like a restaurant. So like, why did you stay within the same industry that you studied?
Laziness.
That's an interesting way to put it.
I've not heard that one before.
Look, lazy. Thinking about having to learn a new problem domain. Look, I spent so much time in this problem domain, understanding the patient pain points. Before we started Toothfairy, we'd probably seen 10, 20,000 patients. So we understood very well what the problem pain points are. And maybe we were too lazy to go and look at another sector and say, what's the pain points in that space? But and I think dentistry for us, the reason it hits home so much is, as we talked about, I'm deep down a Midlands boy, and that's right now experiencing a postcode lottery. There is absolutely dental deserts across the Midlands where there's no dentist available. And what do these patients do? Well, a lot of them are doing DIY, pulling their own teeth out. We did a recent TV appearance where next to me was sitting a gentleman who pulled his own teeth out with his garden tools. And it was incredible to see a real life scenario where somebody had gone into the back and he was in so much pain he pulled his own teeth out, and he was showing us on live TV remnants of his teeth left. And it was like an individual who was about 60, 70, had paid his whole NHS taxes, etc. And we're seeing this constantly. We're seeing Nottingham A&E is talking about how 1 in 5 of all paracetamol overdoses that come to A&E are due to dental pain. People are overdosing.
I've taken a lot of ibuprofen for my wisdom teeth before.
It's incredible to hear that. And it's so scary to see
just
the individuals.
Go to dentist, guys.
Go to dentist.
Pulling your teeth out with garden tools. Have you seen have you played the game Fallout or seen the show Fallout yet?
No.
They pull their teeth out and sell them for bottle caps. But it's like a dystopian world, don't worry. But it made me think of it. I wouldn't. Bottle caps, really. But no, surely that's more painful than having a...
and it's so scary because, and then during COVID, were you guys here in the UK during COVID, or were you US?
I moved here ending of 2020, October 2021. So kind of right after lockdown started to, be less strict and stuff. That's when I moved to the UK. I was in China during COVID.
Wow.
So it was a lot different.
I wonder what it was like there, because here it was, the dental clinic was the most high-risk environment to transmit COVID because we do aerosols. And COVID was living in the air. So every time you drilled someone's teeth. So imagine, the hats that beekeepers wear. We were wearing hats like those to drill and fill teeth. So imagine every dental clinic in the UK pretty much was closed. And that was a scary point for many individuals. Again, that's what DIY dentistry went off. When the COVID finished, 1 in 5 people had been deregistered. So by the time they rang the NHS dentist, they need an appointment. They said, you're no longer on our list. So imagine that Wild West occurring then. So COVID was an incredible kind of issue. And there's a 35 million appointment backlog since then. And the US, I think, is still reeling as well. I just saw something about Biden doing something about trying to add dentistry part of Medicaid. So I think that's a challenge there, getting there as well. But it's broken across the world. And going back to your initial question, why fix dentistry? Like I said, it's not the sexiest or the most interesting field to reinvent, but it's something that's really, really broken. And I think it's still archaic. We're using metal fillings that we used 200-300 years ago, still now to this day.
Interesting. And was it scary jumping into that? I mean, like, if you had a secure job, you're already helping patients, what were your initial steps in, like, okay, I'm just going to found my own company? And did you have 2 more before? Like, I was talking to LinkedIn a little bit.
But, you did start 2 other companies before.
Yeah, so what was that kind of transition?
Yeah, there was, we started one university, which is more just like a clothing company. And it was really fun because, again, it was like, I learned a lot about web coding, designing websites, coding, learning a lot about PR, marketing from that side.
Which language did you code in?
It was just HTML.
Okay,
yeah, just HTML. Luckily, nothing too complex like Python or anything like that. We have a CTO now who does all that stuff. But that was really interesting for me, learning Photoshop, just self-taught, all that stuff. So that was really easy for me. And then second part of the business was then starting a very quick MVP product around cosmetic dentistry, around whitening. Mm-hmm. And we kind of nailed in onto kind of cosmetic market for people getting married. They had a pain point, they had a short deadline, they're spending 10, 20, 30,000 on a big event, they need to spend £200-300 on a smile because they're being photographed so much. So that was another business we did. But I learned the mantra of building an MVP very quickly, build something up very quickly, and those businesses taught me that. And when we started Toothfairy, look, we had a lot of challenges. Dentistry is a very old boys club. Typically if you're a dentist, your dad was a dentist or your granddad was a dentist, you inherit a practice, there's an old boys club, you inherit a contract. New contracts are rarely given out. And there was a lot of challenges around building digital business. We had a lot of the old boys club saying, this can't be done. Why is this done? Dentistry should be fixed in another way if it needs to be fixed. And then COVID occurred. And we proved to people that dentistry can be done remotely. And that accelerated the adoption of digital dentistry. If you imagine, this takes 10, 20 years for people to even think about using a mobile phone camera. People are using it now to not only order food, but people are using it to order blood samples. The NHS COVID app accelerated a lot of stuff. Crypto occurred. A lot of people started doing their finances on their mobile phone, holding all their money on the phone. A lot of these kind of things happened over COVID. We're kind of grateful for that.
Mm-hmm. And how did Toothfairy continue to function during COVID? Like, how was that like? Because you mentioned a lot of people who had appointments were canceled. Yeah. Basically, the entire dentistry sector was shut down. Yeah. The world shut down.
Yeah.
So how did that affect you and your business, and how did that work?
To put 2 and 2 together, that might have been a really good time to have a digital dentist.
Really
COVID.
Good time. Yeah, really good time. Because look, we've been telling people for such a long time that one, you can use digital dentistry. You can take photos of your teeth, and we can tell you from home what's happening. So people who needed a root canal or fillings, etc. Not only we were managing their pain and their infection from home while they were waiting for that appointment. A lot of people that had broken fillings or cavities or those issues, we were managing them before it turned into a root canal. So stopping them eating sugar, managing their advice, pain, prescribing them high fluoride toothpaste, which is proven to reverse early signs of cavities, teaching them how to clean in between teeth. Gum disease is so easy to prevent, but people forget it. Just cleaning in between teeth. And
that take some notes.
Yeah. And that was great for us because people were like, oh wait, it works. And now if you look at our Trustpilots, like we're nearly close to 1,000 excellent reviews. We're like incredibly well versed. We're working with companies from Rolls-Royce to Sainsbury's now to DHL to look after their employees. People are really understanding that actually employee well-being, but even well-being from home can work without you physically taking time off work, sitting in a waiting room. It's like online banking and
companies
stuff.
like that.
Yeah,
Their employees have no excuse to take off the day for a dentist appointment anymore.
Yeah.
You can do it from the bathroom.
Do it from the bathroom, take selfies. A lot of people can't afford to.
Yeah.
A lot of people have to decide before, do I take this afternoon off and possibly lose some money and move my shifts around? Or could I quickly get some advice about this emergency now and go on the weekend?
Yeah, you're losing money by taking off time from work, and then you're spending money by getting an appointment, especially if you're not in the UK.
Yeah.
Is it how international is the service? Like, is it specifically just the UK, or how many countries are you advising people?
Yeah, we're UK. We've got eyesights on the US now. We're about to hopefully launch a pilot in the US. US has the same problems that we do, the 3 A's, affordability, access, and availability. It's not enough dentists in the right areas, and it's so expensive. We've shocked how expensive dentistry is in the US. And look, if an insurer has to pay for somebody to go A&E,
tell us about it.
Yeah, it's nuts. But I think the behavioral changes there. I think you guys have been ingrained to think, US-born individuals have been ingrained to think, you should pay for healthcare. Mm-hmm. UK is still overcoming that somewhat. And we're excited about the US because of not only the grand scale of it, but in the US, ROI is a lot clearer.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we can stop one or two or three.
A lot of money spent on dentistry in the US.
Yeah,
People always do it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so let's say I use the app, I find out that the problem I'm having with my teeth is actually something that's pretty, something that's pretty severe, and I have to then meet a dentist who will have to maybe do some kind of operation on my teeth. How is that process like? Like, how
is it
long
your
would
dentist or is it someone else's dentist?
Do you connect to like dentists just international, like nationally in the UK, depending on your location, like where you are in the UK, or is it someone who works with Toothfairy full time? How does that work?
Yeah, so what we've done now is we've built an online scraping tool. It's our own scraper, and what it will do is scrape thousands of online dental clinics hour by hour and find any last minute slots on their online availability bookings, and we'll pass it on to the patient. So we don't take any fees for that. We don't take any monetary value. They don't give us any kickback. We're not even affiliated with them, but it's a great way for them to find a last minute slot. And you'll be surprised, not even Google does that. Not even half the clinics don't communicate with each other about that. So that's really neat what we're doing. And then the second thing we're doing is building our own network. So we're saying to people, these are Toothfairy patients. If they come to you, give them a discount. And why can we do that? It's buying power. We've got this tens of thousands, so many patients on our system that we're saying, look, we're driving these into your clinic. You should be looking after them a lot better. So there's more incentive for them to look after Toothfairy patients as well. And again, we don't get any fees or kickbacks for that. So our job is to get that end user into clinic. But 7 in 10 of all consults in the app can be solved in app. They don't need to further on and go and see a dentist. It's quite neat, yeah.
And you said, buying power. How is it that you guys, got your funding, like Toothfairy? Like, what was the funding process like? And do you need any more funding? And how was that kind of the money you've made allocated into the business?
Yeah. How easy is it to convince investors that digital dentistry is the future?
That must have been a very interesting conversation to have with a bunch
founders. It's like funding is one of the biggest challenges, obviously. And sometimes when you just don't have the product to show, like people, they have to think of the idea in their head. How do you even? Yeah,
you're right. I think, look, we started in just post-COVID with fundraising. We raised just close to $5 million in kind of a couple of rounds of funding. And hopefully this year we'll reach profitability. So that demand for needing funds is hopefully going to be less so. We're trying to prove to the system and our healthcare investors and also the field that this can be a really, really profitable business, but also can be a business that can scale, can grow very rapidly. Look, we're the first one through the door, and the first one through the door always gets bloody. We are learning a lot of stuff. We are a challenger brand. We are challenging the traditional old brick and mortar clinics model, which we're doing. So it has been difficult, like you said, trying to talk to investors. They've got this glaze over their eyes. I think, what is this? And then you show them real patient feedback. You show them an NPS score of 81. We show them the excellent reviews you've got. We've tested in the NHS. 91% of NHS patients said they would use Toothfairy to access a dentist at time of an emergency. We've won awards like Digital App of the Year, Digital Solution of the Year. We're one of the top fastest growing companies, 100 top fastest growing companies now, according to Sifted, this year. So we've got a good projection, we've got a good trajectory. But you're right, it is always challenging to say to investors, this can be done. And there is a threat that actually we are paving the path for a lot of competitors in the future that might come with a solution similar to ours, but that's part of being first company, first to the table, really.
And you have to stay ahead of innovation then, if people are going to start following in your footsteps.
100%. And look, we think of the mantra, the best product wins. So we just have to make sure we build a winning product. And that's why we're layering it on with AI. That's why we're layering it with a better UX. And actually the value proposition for the end user is so good. More affordable, more convenient dentistry. And hopefully even it shows what individuals like yourself, that are professionals, young professionals, you have the same problems as somebody that's, doesn't have a great amount of funds, that is probably sitting in the middle of nowhere in England. Everybody's got the same access issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you mentioned like it helps having that feedback and those awards and things like that, and so it's just like kind of a compounding effect. To get funding right away without a product or like anyone's feedback is difficult, but I guess if you just stay reflective and resilient, then you can kind of notice those little steps and show the investors those little steps.
Yeah, and look, you need the right investors as well. We're very lucky we've got investors that are in for the long term. We know we have met some investors out there that were excited in the Web3, that were excited in crypto, and now they're excited in AI. What's the buzzword of the aspect? And they want to quit flip. But we're lucky that we've got investors that have proven to build unicorns, that have built something very long over a long amount of time. But they're actually not pressuring us because they know this is going to be a winning product and there is a lot of learning to do. We are in the B2B space as well as the B2C space. And the B2B space is incredibly painful. Mm-hmm. Slow value, long contract lengths, a lot of due diligence. But when they land, they're very sticky, and we're lucky to have some great partners in that space.
Mm-hmm. How does the B2B space work like for Toothfairy? Like, who are the other businesses that you're working with or you're selling to? How is that partnership working between?
Yeah, so we look at insurers, health insurers, and we say to health insurers is either they're a dental insurer and they're getting absolutely hemorrhaged on claims costs. Costs are going up. People are spending, they're getting less money in their pocket because they can't keep up with reimbursement. So every year, these insurers are hearing from their clients and saying, I'm paying 20, 30, 40 pounds a month for this product, but I cannot see the dentist. And when I do, you're giving me less money back. So they've got a book that's going to be absolute high claims cost. So we're saying to these insurers, look, we're going to reduce that for you. And then we've got other individuals that are life insurers, etc., that have a great product, but nobody ever uses life insurance unless, unfortunately, they die. Mm-hmm. So people every year are asking themselves, similar to us when we get travel insurance, I ask myself every year, do I need this? Why am I paying for this? And I have that doubt where I'm about to cancel it. So these guys have to add further value into their product. And Toothfairy is one of those. It's offering further value. So they're saying, here's something more fun, exciting, and we're a kind of nice new fun toy to play with in an insurance space, in a B2B space. And then we've got direct to companies. Mm-hmm. We say direct to companies and we say, look, what are you doing to protect your employees if they have a UDC, an unscheduled dental care issue, and they need to go see a dentist? And they say, we don't have anything. So we could say to somebody like, if you've got a lawyer in the magic circle and you say they need an afternoon off, that's going to cost you a lot of money. If they have to cancel a meeting, that could be a deal you lose out on. Or you've got a DHL or a delivery driver that has to cancel his route because he's got an abscess and he needs to go to dentist. That's going to cost you some money that afternoon. So it's about building the ROI, real value.
Mm-hmm. And so do you also do B2C then? So could I just log onto the app and become a customer?
Yeah. And we do a lot of that around cosmetics. You'll be surprised. Everybody wants teeth straightening now. Everybody wants whiter teeth now. I think it's you Americans that reported over here.
I had to just get a mouth guard for the first time, and it was quite expensive.
Yeah. It's the Californians. That's it's Hollywood. They're the ones.
Yeah, and it's I think you guys have brought that kind of California sun over and that demand for straight white teeth. And people post COVID now are saying, I'm not buying that new car. I'm not doing that holiday to Vegas anymore now. I actually want to spend on myself. So they're buying a better gym membership. They bought that Peloton. Not sure how many are using those, but they're also now investing in themselves. And there's people are saying, look, I want to look after myself. Yeah. So we saw a lot of trend on that. And then we saw the other way as well. We saw a lot of people who just want to be more health conscious.
Mm-hmm. And let's say Jenny and I are investors. What would make you consider, working with us? Like, what do you look for in an investor? You mentioned obviously people are not looking for like the shiny buzzwords like AI, crypto, who are in it for the long run. Is that kind of like the only attribute you're looking for when you accept an investment from an investor? Or what is it like that you look for when you want to partner or work with somebody?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think for us, it's the fact that we want somebody that's been in the trenches that can tell us when it's wartime. They've been in the trenches and they've taken similar company like ours in a vertical space. The guys that invested in maybe the first mental health companies or the first women's health menopause companies or the first digital GP companies. How do they do it? How do they become the first to the door but become incredibly successful? And how do they scale? US is on our roadmap for sure. How do you build those companies and take them further? And introductions, I think, for us to be really successful, we need to build a really strong management team. So what can they do in terms of bringing right individuals into the company? There's a lot of money you can raise from anywhere. I think the issue is how do you use that money and how do you get direction to use that money? So when we look at investors, we're looking at what value can you add to us other than just money in the bank, really.
Mm-hmm. I find it interesting because a lot of times founders just think about the investor wanting them. So they try to appeal to them, but nobody really thinks about what they need from the investor. So to be able to flip it to an actual two-sided coin is really important because you do want the right investor. You don't just want people to throw their money at you. Because then you're kind of in for the long run.
And then expect a crazy ROI as well. And it just makes from speaking to different entrepreneurs like yourself, some investors have unrealistic expectations and goals, so you kind of need that.
Yeah, you're right. And look, you'll see somebody raise a 20 million round, and as a founder, you're thinking, then you're saying, wow, that should be me, like 20 million. And then you find out when you lift the hood and you say, look at the terms on that, look at the valuation on that. There's no founder equity. Me and my co-founder, we're still in charge. We own a large amount of the company still. We're still in control. So that's important for a company at this stage. You still need to have direction of clinical capacity of where are you going. And I think, like you said, terms might be horrible. Money might be there, but the terms might be horrible. There might be more controlling part of the company. But for us, we found investors to be really valuable for those guys that can come and say, this is what pattern matching. This is what we've seen happen previously with other companies. These are the pitfalls you need to avoid. This is what you need to do. And I think for us, it's quite exciting for us to have those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
especially if you want to move into a different market. Like if someone doesn't know anything about US dentistry, you're gonna have to go look at it yourself. Go get a dentist appointment in America, And
so big, and it's so expensive.
Yeah,
So
and
expensive.
every state's different. Like that's what.
That's annoying thing about
yeah,
the
one
US.
One of the biggest things that comes up in all of my founder interviews is that they want to go to the U.S. or they did go to the U.S. and they didn't realize every state is like its own country. Like they all have different regulations, taxes. Like
it's really different. The rules in Texas don't apply.
You can go to a dentist in Texas, it might be completely different than like New Hampshire.
Exactly, it's very very different. So it is tough when you're obviously working and running a business in the UK and you want to expand and you realize, actually, no, Texas has completely different laws than Florida.
And everybody sues everybody out there.
Yeah, everybody sues everybody
out there.
Not all friends all the time.
That's how most people get rich.
Like, in our B2C space, we do a lot of invisible orthodontics, etc. These big kind of giant challenger, these big companies, as we're a challenger, they're suing each other. And somebody was saying, look, for you to go in the US, you just got to make sure a lot of that money, you said 20 million, is going to go towards a legal house.
Yeah, it's like your logo somehow looks like my logo if I squint my eyes and turn around. So I'm going to sue you for it. They find any way to get you, like, to sue you for patents. And,
crazy,
or you slipped in the store for that reason. So we're very big on very big on lawsuits.
That's the scary thing.
Who would be your biggest competitors? Like, if you're really the leading digital dentist, is there another digital dentist?
There's some players in the US. There are a couple of players, but they've got the right idea. I think they're very early stage in what they're doing, but the product still needs a better UX. Still needs a bit more padding out. I think in terms of AI, we're kind of leading that charge for dental imaging. There's some really exciting stuff around radiographs. So you could take an X-ray and the AI would tell you, right, you got a cavity here. We're taking the next level up. Black and white images for AI is quite straightforward. It can become standardized. It can be straightforward to do. We are using images where you don't need any apparatus or anything. Just taking a selfie of your teeth in any angle, it will tell you what you have. So we never say there's no companies out there that are doing what we're doing. It just means we haven't looked hard enough. So we have found some, but we think we've got a better product. And there's possible areas there for a collaboration there, for us to grow that market. And maybe we can share their lawyers, I think.
You might need to.
Do you use the photos that come in, or do they just disappear afterwards? I only think about it because when I had my wisdom teeth, they were so messed up that the dental students asked me if they could use it in their school, their studies. So I just know that a bunch of kids are learning off of my teeth now.
Your
my
teeth
X-ray.
was so bad. You're like,
they were like, no, because it was directly my wisdom teeth were just coming in completely into my teeth. And they thought my X-ray was so fascinating that they asked me to use it for their classes, and I was like, fine, whatever. But do you guys do that?
We don't. We don't use any patient data to train our AI models. In the future, if our patients would allow us to, we will. But there is going to become a crossroad where we're going to have to say to patients, if you want better healthcare, you have to let us start using your anonymized data, because there's only so much data out there for us to take AI to the next level. So there's going to be a conversation where we come to individuals like yourself and say, for you to discover healthcare 2.0, we're going to have to use some data. And it might not show it's your data. It might not be able to say it's going back and say this is your photo, etc. But without that data and high quality data, I think there's going to be that stumbling block of AI, especially when it comes to healthcare data, AI imaging, etc. So I think we will approach that crossroads soon. And I know it's a very sensitive topic.
Well, I just wrote about a founder actually that helps you buy stuff with your online data. So you could just buy a Greg's sausage roll with the online data that's already out there. Google already has it, Facebook already has it. They're selling your data. They're making money off your data. And so if you sign up for his app, you get to anonymize it, and it goes all into one a big data wallet, and so they can keep track of it, and then you anonymize it, but then you also get a percentage off of it. So then they work with partners who give you vouchers like Greg's, and people just literally are just eating a sausage roll because Facebook has their data and they're making money off of it. So it's funny that you say if you accept that, but as long as you know where it's going. Because I think that's the biggest thing is I didn't even know people were making money out of my data, but why am I not getting a cut? It is my weird data online.
Exactly right. And I think that's the conversations that need to be had on a mass scale, right? We've got to start asking people, do you want to opt in or opt out and those things. But I think for us to get to the next level, we're going to have to need that data. We're going to need that data.
What are your thoughts on AI scare? Everyone's afraid AI is going to take their jobs, but the more and more businesses we speak to, they all use AI. Everyone's using AI because, quite frankly, it's the next way for us to grow in technology. But the mass audience or the daily, your average Joe is afraid AI is going to take their jobs. What would you say? What's your pushback on that? Because of clearly, like you said, in order for Toothfairy to grow, you need AI and you need people's data so you can help them better, you know?
Yeah. I think the analogy that somebody once said to me, I can't take credit for this, but it was like, imagine the launch of the first tractor and they shipped them out to all these farms and all these farmers were saying, no, I've got my ox, I've got my horse, I don't need this tractor.
Yeah.
And it's like, fine, you carry on with the horse. And this tractor's too bulky, how are we going to transport, how are we going to get it here? But it's like, AI is not going to replace your job, but AI will be some component of your job. It will take, you know, some aspect into it. And for you to keep up, you need to integrate it. But the thing that worries me more about AI is the data sets that we're using. You know, like let's say for ourselves, we're both minorities. If we train our data set on mine and your skin and gum disease, we're training our data set to say red is bad. But for us, we might have more pigments in our gums. So actually, if me and you take a photo, it might say you have gum disease. Really, we don't. It's just pigment in there. And I think what worries us more so is, what are the data sets being trained? Are those data sets equal across the whole population? Because if they're not, the AI will only serve a segment of the population. And I think that's what worries me more so.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah, and if we don't get that valid data set for everybody, there's going to be a component where AI is only going to serve a certain part of the population. It's like plasters. I saw something in Sainsbury's the other day saying now they're making plasters that are like for darker skin tones. So for 10, 20, 30 years, everybody's wearing these light skin plasters. And now they're making plasters that are dark and 4 or 5 different skin tones. And it's actually like little things like those where it's like that divide will get bigger and bigger in healthcare if we're using blood tests that are only trained on, let's say, a particular data set, particular ethnicity and particular age group. What happens to those other guys that are marginal? Are they going to be left behind? And we saw that during COVID. You know, we saw during COVID a disproportionate number of people dying and passing away that were from the minority groups. And why was that? Is that because there was less training for doctors and data sets that proved we managed those patients differently? That's what worries me more about AI, really, is it keeping up with the whole population itself?
Well, I feel like it's helpful to know that because it's something that people might just look over.
Yeah.
And so then they build this massive data set for the company and then they just realize, you know, in 2 years' time, it's not what it should be.
Yeah.
So to be a founder in a successful business, I feel like you have to spot those weird little gaps that you would never think about. Because I don't even think about the color of Band-Aids, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I like the pink ones.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't. And it's not a big deal, really. It's like, for some people it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And it's like, for us to keep AI going, it's like we talk about the gum disease aspect, or let's say certain aspects of, let's say, the teeth or the skin. You know, we've seen some really, really neat startups where you take a photo of your skin and it will tell you you've got early signs of oral cancer, etc., or skin cancer. But if you've got darker pigmented skin, is that AI data set trained on that darker pigment of skin? And that's what we need to be careful of. Because then if it's not going to serve that population, can we say AI is equally helping people?
That's actually interesting. And you grew up in the Midlands, Black country boy. We know you support Arsenal.
By this.
So what's the correlation between you and Arsenal, given the fact that, you know, you grew up in, you know, in the Midlands?
Fascinated with your Instagram.
Yeah, I saw all the pictures with, you know, all the Arsenal players and even Neo.
He was naming them off to me, and I had no idea who he was talking
she knows
about.
nothing about football, so she's no longer in this podcast. So it's gonna be me and you.
But yeah, I think look, I didn't come from a really footballing or sporty background, so for me to choose my team, it was like, at that time it was like the golden era of Arsenal, and everybody at school had supported Arsenal, and you fitted.
It's like the 08, 07.
Yeah, maybe a little bit earlier as well, actually.
06 or 4.
Yeah, around that time, exactly. Yeah, 14, 15, 16 for me, and it was yeah, look, for you to fit in my school, I came from a very state background school. If you Google my school, it's like not shine. I was one of the few people that even went to university outside of the Midlands to London. So it was a very interesting background place to be, and it taught me a lot about communication. And one of those was sport. I played a lot of sport. I did a lot of sport in the school, and Arsenal was like had to be done. But I think I chose the wrong team, because by the time I left school, we had about 10 years of pain and absolutely no trophies.
Winger out.
Everything out. And look, I'm very lucky. I have really good relationship with the players. I mean, to the point where a lot of the time, if I'm not at their house, I'm getting complimentary tickets to go to the games, or we're in the boxes with them, and that's through dentistry. You know,
so you've fixed their teeth personally, or you've worked on their teeth?
I've had Instagram messages from Arsenal football players. You can Google it, where they've knocked their veneers out and they're on the train back, and I have to open a clinic up at midnight.
Why you?
Just a good relationship with them. Yeah, very good relationship.
So Martinelli can credit his smile to you.
Martinelli, luckily not his veneers that came off, but I think it was Gabriel. I can say it publicly because it's on.
Gabriel has really good smiles. Yeah. That's you.
No, well, luckily I didn't place the veneers. The veneers were placed in Brazil. They're really nice set, but luckily I just had to glue one back. That came off, and it was like a really tough tackle. But yeah, look, that's one of the perks of the job is dentistry has allowed me to travel, do amazing stuff like these podcasts, but also see really fun kind of players and relationships with those individuals where it's quite intimate. And like I said, as a diehard Arsenal fan, it's like a dream come true, really.
So like at 1 a.m., I just realized I've misplaced a teeth as an Arsenal fan. I can just give you a call.
Yeah, call. And we've had some funny stories with these guys, and I think they're such professionals, like such professionals. Incredible to see. Like they give me kind of motivation and discipline, because when you hang out with them, and for me, I'm as a founder, I always sit with these guys and I say to them, like, what is that fact that you became a footballer? What was that secret ingredient? Because if I ask enough of them, maybe I'll find something that's common between all of them. And I was like, and a lot of them just say luck. A lot of them, if I ask them, I say, look, what was it? Was it the fact that you was so disciplined? Was it the fact that you wanted it so bad? And every single one of them says, I think it's just luck. Like I've been in training. Saliba is one of my very good players that I have a good relationship with, and he knows Mbappe from France very well. And he said again, like, we know players that that was just as good as that, very good, but luck and the stars align, and you just find yourself in the right club, right agent, right person sees you. And I think I take a lot of that thought process into running a business. Mm-hmm. You have to be out on the field. You have to have a lot of luck to get wins.
But you create your own luck, though. No?
Yeah.
I mean, because definitely the luck plays a part to the reason why we're probably all in this room right now.
Yeah.
Because so many people, and there's so many people who don't have the same, fortunate, life that we do. So, but you create your own luck in some way. Even this dream job that you get, you wouldn't get a dream job if you didn't apply. You wouldn't have gotten scouted by Arsenal if you didn't go into training and put in the work. Maybe people are just as good as you, but you put yourself in the place where luck then has to take over.
Or is it coincidence? No, I'm just kidding. Luck is a very interesting topic to me.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is, I think. And I guess the second thing they always say is they wanted it so bad. They say there is nothing else they could imagine doing. Like when I talked to these players, they said they wanted it so bad. And I wonder, like, what's so bad? Everybody wants something bad, but I always question them. And they always looking at me weird because I'm meant to be their dentist, and say, why is he asking me, why is he doing this?
This isn't therapy.
Mini podcast with me. But I'm trying to find it.
The dentist one time asked me if I was anxious, and I because he noticed I grinded my teeth. I thought I was like, am I in a therapy chair right now? Like, he was asking me so many questions. I was like, I grind my teeth. What about it?
I say it all the time. Is work stress right now? And people start,
And I just start yapping, and they're like, we actually didn't really want an answer. Which isn't okay.
But I think it's I'm trying to find that common theme. Between everybody is what is it? And like I said, it's luck, and it's that that want, and it's that want, and I
almost
think
need, in fact.
Yeah, it's like it's just incredible, and the way they say it as well. It's not like I just wanted it real bad. It's like you can see their eyes glint up. It's no, I needed this real, wanted this real bad. So I think that's the one plus of what I do, and I try and take that discipline back into running the business. Really, is every single day. It's hard to do the same thing every single day when you're not getting instant results, and. I left behind a really successful practice on Harley Street, running that, and a really good kind of exclusive list of patients to run Toothfairy. And, you have to constantly remind yourself that it is a bigger purpose to do.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that, you would meet a lot of interesting people as a dentist.
Yeah.
So you're one of those dentists that talk a lot when you're like in the chair and someone's like got their mouth open and you're just like asking them questions and they can't, they can't respond, and they're like...
Well, I'm the opposite, really. I'm actually talking to them to calm them down beforehand. And I guess a lot of people like talking about themselves. Dentistry is a horrible place to be.
That's what I mean. Sometimes I'm trying to talk to the dentist and I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I don't know why I'm even trying.
And I'm in a unique position where I'm one of the few people that's probably in their circle of these kind of big celebrities, etc., that probably doesn't want anything from them. It's they can actually get something from me. And that's a really unique position to be in, where actually you're in a kind of quite a nice position where you're actually helping them. Whereas usually, typically, everywhere they go, somebody wants something from them, whether it's like a selfie or money or, a shirt or tickets or whatever. And after a while, that trust builds up.
And outside of football and Arsenal, what else do you do on your free time? You play cricket, you go running, gym.
I'll be honest with you. I'm doing incredible amounts. My lifestyle is two things. It's either working, and watching the Arsenal in the evenings if I can, and otherwise traveling.
Oh, where have you traveled?
So this year I'm going to Japan soon.
I lived in Japan.
Yeah, are you? Yeah.
So I lived in Japan for like about 3 years.
Oh,
Tokyo.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. People there are so lovely.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm going back soon, and I'm a diehard Nintendo fan. So I love Pokemon. I grew up on that.
I
Zelda, I love Zelda.
Pokemon as well.
Yeah, Zelda, all that stuff. So on the GameCube. So that's like
those little
My
Game
brother has one
Boys.
of those Mario Karts with the actual carts that go
Oh, is it?
around.
Yeah.
Mario Karts, yeah.
I'm
My dog hates it. Like he just chases after them all the time, and like
I
you
think my
can't bite
parents
those.
might still have like the Game Boy my brother
Yeah.
had,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
original
Oh, I had the
Game Boy.
DS,
Yeah.
the pink one.
That was so good.
I had
Yeah.
the original
Play the
Game
Phineas
Boy.
and Ferb
Yeah.
game on it all the time.
Yeah. So I was a diehard Nintendo fan. I still am to this day. So it's probably going to be. I'm actually taking an empty suitcase, like so I can buy absolute junk, because I think I'll buy like absolute silly stuff. So doing that stuff, and then I do try a lot of traveling if I can here and there, like anywhere with the beach and some sun, really.
So nothing like the quite opposite of the UK.
Anyway, it feels
Most
like
trips
I gotta get
away.
out. Yeah, in the UK, it's just, I mean, look at it now, it's great, but it's London's such a hub. I mean, I love London because you could be sitting on a train or a tube, and somebody next to you could change your life. You know, it's such an environment that you can meet somebody, and that's really exciting for me. London's always got some glitter about it and the bright lights. But yeah, I travel a lot, so my life is really two extremes. It's either like incredible work hours, so like 9 till 9 or 9 till 10, or I'm actually just taking some time off and just traveling.
So do you work on those travels, or is it just complete holiday?
Yeah, I think
Japan, I'm working. Yeah.
I think a lot of founders.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, business founders, CEOs,
Yeah,
it's
they're
very
just
hard
taking
to
calls on the
switch off.
beach.
You have
Like,
to, yeah. You have to. I think like you cannot afford to turn off. You just cannot afford to turn off because it's you're handling investors' money, you're handling your own money, you actually dedicate a lot of your life towards it. And everywhere I go, I have my laptop with me. You know, it's incredible. Like you're going everywhere with your laptop, so you have no excuse now. And the world has moved, like you guys said, Slack and Zoom and stuff and Teams. The world is now built to do remote working. And how many hours ahead is Japan? Is it like 9 hours?
Yeah, it's probably 9 hours.
So there's no excuse.
I know China's about 8 hours. Cause my brother's in China. I was living there before. My brother's still there, so it's like 8 hours. Japan is probably similar.
So you can speak some quite good languages?
Only Mandarin.
Yeah, only Mandarin. That's incredible.
That's pretty
I understand some of like my native tongue, Igbo, like I'm originally Nigerian, and then I can speak Mandarin. That's pretty much it. It's funny because yesterday I went Vox Pop and we're asking people about like personal finance and just like how much they're paying for rent and stuff. And there was this Chinese couple, and then when we went up to them and said, "Oh, can we ask you a couple of questions?" They started speaking between themselves in Mandarin, if they should do it or not. And then I joined the conversation, and then they were like, "Whoa!"
That's incredible.
We started talking and like speaking in Mandarin, and then they did the video with us, and it was very funny, and it was really cool. And we just started chatting about.
I've seen those viral videos where like somebody goes abroad and they don't know if they can speak Mandarin. And then they just start speaking Mandarin, and their minds get absolutely blown.
And they're so like once they hear you can speak your language, they're so lovely. You're just like, you know. And my Mandarin, I've lost a lot of it, but they were still so nice. Like, oh, you sound like you're. If I could close my eyes, I couldn't tell that you're not like you're not Chinese and stuff like that. It was really sweet. Yeah. Japan is just you'll love it. It's also nice, but I can only speak Mandarin. That's
probably a really good time to go as well, like in the spring with the
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to catch some cherry blossoms, and trying to get some nature in me. And I think I just saw something this week actually where they've banned tourists from going somewhere, and that was a great spot near Mount Fuji. It's they banned a aspect where you stand nearby because there's so many tourists going. Absolutely.
I'm not surprised. That doesn't surprise me. I've done. In China, I've been to like Tiananmen Square. I've done the Great Wall twice.
Wow.
Oh wow.
I've also seen the Tokyo Tower when I was in Japan. At these places, I think that's if you could, if you have any time. Because I'm sure you probably don't.
The Great Wall.
Go to the Great Wall. Yeah.
Nice work spot for the day.
Do like a weekend in China. Just go to it's unreal. Absolutely unreal.
I think so. I think times like those when you go to these places makes you feel human again. I think sometimes when you're working, you're running a business and you're doing so much tech, entrepreneur stuff, you need to feel like human again. And sometimes I did the Rockies like a couple of years ago, and like that was incredible in Canada, and seeing like grizzlies and these waterfalls and this landscape, and again it makes you feel like, right, cool. I know the point of working so hard and purpose. For me, one of the few things is traveling, is going and seeing new places. And then you understand problems as well. A lot of people's problems is actually similar everywhere they go. But actually, it's like dentistry. You know, I'm very small-minded. I'm always looking at everyone's dental clinics and what's the dental system out there and how does that work. So yeah, that's always exciting for me to see. But I think it's an interesting time right now for healthcare across the world. And there's some exciting stuff, like you said, in China. And I saw something the other day about AI models in China are now beating ChatGPT models. That's incredible.
Yeah, they have really, really, really good program developers in China, actually. what would you say is the most interesting, or who has the most interesting teeth that you've ever worked on? If you're able to disclose this information with us.
Look, I've worked with some really fun people. I've worked with like I said, the footballers, but musicians like Rita Ora and those guys, all the team, some part members of the royal family as well. But I think the most interesting thing I see, I'll be honest with you, between the two types of patients I see a lot of American patients, so North American patients, I see a lot of UK patients. The North American patients, they have their veneers done, the whitening done, etc. I found that dentistry for them is like a sign of wealth. They come here, or they come and get their dental treatment to show, look how much money I have, look how wealthy I am. Because getting a full set of veneers there is incredible. Whereas in the UK and the European mentality of dentistry is, I've done a full set of veneers for individuals and they want me to put yellow stains in them. They want me to put see-throughness at the edges, like they've had too much Diet Coke. And they want the mentality to be like, God gifted me these teeth. I never had anything done. I was naturally born like this. And that's the difference in the mentality, which is so interesting to see, is the Americans are using dentistry as a sign of wealth, whereas the UK and the Europe mentality is dentistry as a sign of, I'm God gifted, I'm naturally beautiful.
My teeth is just
interesting.
perfect.
I didn't even think about that.
I actually did not think.
Yeah, and
about
I think that's one thing.
Do
I saw.
veneers stain like regular teeth then? Like if you were to
They don't.
don't.
They're incredible. Yeah, they don't stain.
That's
So
why
you
I
have to.
coffee in the morning.
You
Yeah,
have to
no,
actually go out of your way and add
That's
Yellow
so
stains.
funny.
while you're in.
You've actually done that.
Yeah, so a
Stain
ceramist.
someone's teeth.
Yeah, so they wanted like a yellow
That's actually
aspect of the body of the teeth. They didn't want the pure white ceramic kind of like bathroom tiles, we call them, China white teeth. Yeah, they wanted
Wow.
like, yeah, it's incredible. And even the see-throughness, so when you drink too much Coke, you get this kind of small see-throughness at the edges of teeth, or so much diet. It's called acid erosion. They wanted that. They're like, I want that. And it was incredible because it was like, are you sure? Because these
very
are
interesting.
You paused
request.
it.
yeah, these are expensive units of teeth, and they're not easy to go by. And
Like,
these
I don't
are
want to look too perfect.
That is
yeah,
so
not too
funny.
perfect. And I don't want it to look like I've had work done. You'll be surprised. Even post-COVID, you saw a lot of individuals dissolve their filler and their facial aesthetics. They wanted to remove all of that. It's a new thing where people are literally saying, make me look natural. Make me look like nothing's happened.
Can't they just play it off and say that they just were born with squeaky white teeth and nothing's ever happened to them?
Well,
Like,
yeah.
I have a very
I don't
good
drink
toothbrush.
coffee. I don't
Yeah.
smoke.
I think
use
you-
the electric toothbrush and
Yeah.
Titus too.
Yeah, but the British sun gives it away.
Yeah.
If you're in Brazil, like we talked about the veneers, or if you're in California, that sun, that hue, you get away with some really white teeth.
Yeah.
It's so gloomy here and the sun's barely out. You can look at somebody on the tube
You'll
and you
know.
think,
Yeah, why is your teeth sparkling?
yeah, why are they so
It's
bright?
gray.
Yeah, it's grey here. And it's and
Off
then-
my eye.
yeah. And look, when somebody talks about your teeth, and you'll see this, is somebody talks about it's one of the most self-conscious things that you can never get rid of.
Yeah.
If somebody comments about your teeth and says, have you had something done to your teeth? Are their teeth very white? They hate that. I've had patients come back and
I
say,
would like that.
yeah,
I'd be like,
yeah.
yes, maybe I did.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't.
yeah. But I think when you've had work done and someone comments on it in a bad way, you're like,
Yeah.
I did the wrong thing.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's people really get self-conscious. There's a really famous image where they show people a guy with a missing eyebrow and somebody with a missing tooth, and people notice that he's missing a tooth before he's missing an
Yeah.
eyebrow.
That's interesting.
Unless you get your veneers stained yellowish, and then someone later on says you should do some teeth whitening, then you might
Yeah,
regret
game
that.
over.
Like,
game
you're like,
over,
oh
yeah.
well, dang.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
You have
Yeah,
to-
I did that on
That's to, be
purpose.
the, that's to be like the right amount of stain.
Right
Where
amount of
people are
stain,
still
yeah.
like, oh, you have good teeth, but they don't think your teeth is too good to be real.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Too good
100%.
to be
Is that
It's a fine balance.
fine balance, right? It's that fine balance, and it's we made them sign. Like I said, everyone's suing each other. In the UK, it's just as bad. So you had to sign documents to say, "You sure you want yellow in the middle of this veneer?" Like, yeah,
Just sign here,
Yeah,
here.
here. And then you forget about it, and then you're like, fine. But yeah, that's the environment. So when you say most interesting, I think that's what we've noticed more. So you'll see a lot of the UK celebs they don't want much treatment doing, and also like individuals that are a lot more wealthier now spend less money on veneers, and that's the aspect more on straightening. They're happy to commit now 6 months to a year to straighten their teeth rather than 2 weeks veneer them.
And
That's
do you do
what I'm
that with
finding.
braces, or do you do it with the?
Invisible aligners,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, clear trays, and people prefer that now.
I might have to,
Braces sounds terrible. I've never had.
I wouldn't
braces.
do.
But,
I wouldn't
like,
do
the metal
braces
on
now.
your
I
teeth
would
are
do
just-
like the liners, invisible liners.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do. I'm too old to.
You remember when
put on
braces
braces,
used
I
to
feel
be?
like
I don't
now.
know if it was a thing here, but in America it was like braces used to be the thing.
Yeah.
Like if you
Everyone
were
had
like 12, like
braces.
you wanted braces.
Is it?
Like
Yeah.
it was like, Mom, give me braces.
Even
if you
Because,
had
like, your
perfect
teeth are
teeth,
fine. Like you
yeah.
don't need braces. It's like
Even if you had
glasses. Everybody
That's
wants
crazy.
glasses.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. We have to like hold kids down here.
Yeah, it used to be like it was like a big trend growing up.
Yeah.
I just remember everybody wanted
Everyone
braces.
wanted braces and glasses.
Yeah.
just because you had perfect eyesight.
But then the people who
perfect
actually
teeth, but you
needed
felt
them
left
were the
out.
ones that were like bullied in school. So
I
like,
think
they
the
hate
glasses
them.
might have been like a Harry Potter effect.
Yeah, I think glasses are still like a weird friend. But
Yeah, and
they're
I think
expensive, so I'd rather not have to have them.
I mean, the closest we've done, I used to do metal braces a lot, and we used to have patients come back and say, Christmas time, can you change the
colour.
elastics to like Christmas color? And like, so you would be like, okay, fine, we're ruining your social life, so it's the least we could do is like make you feel a little bit better with your
Feel festive.
yeah, festive and that kind of stuff. So you kind of it's fun, but no, if I could go again and if I have children and they need braces, get them on. They're incredibly good, and the bone is so soft, teeth move so good. So any listeners, anybody with small children, take them to the NHS dentist, get some braces if they need them, because they'll thank you when they get older.
All right, so our listeners with kids, take them.
Get braces.
You know,
Even
make
if
sure
they're
you get them
not
braces.
appealing.
Yeah.
Get them Christmas themed.
Before we let you go, have to ask you some rapid fire questions. What would be like, your advice to someone who wants to start their own company, an entrepreneur who's looking
In
to
or out of dentistry.
in or out of dentistry. Maybe it's in the same industry they went to school with. Maybe it's outside of. What would you be what would your advice be to them? As a founder yourself.
Yeah, I think two things, two-part. First is somebody once said to me, it's not how many right decisions you make, it's the speed of decision you make. Make decisions quick, learn. Make decisions quick, learn. Don't worry about being right. Get out there, build an MVP product, minimal viable product, and just go with it. You will find a winning product. You will just keep iterating. And I think in the US, that's a war story. People love war stories. If you tell somebody, I started this business, it didn't work great, so we pivoted. They love pivots. In the UK, if you tell somebody you pivoted, they're all saying, what's wrong with you? Why did you do that? So don't be scared of pivoting. And then the second part is just you got to be delusional. You got to really block out all the noise. You have to just keep going. Do not listen to anybody. You got to keep going. And just keep learning.
The failing bit is interesting. Like I do find people back home they love to fail.
Yeah.
Here, when an entrepreneur tells me they failed, they're like, "But you don't have to include that." I'm
Yeah.
like, but that's awesome. Like you should fail.
Yeah.
How else are you gonna learn?
Yeah, and I learned that like US investors, when we speak to them, they're like, okay, so what did you fail? Where did you pivot? How did you pivot? Like Amazon was a bookstore, now it's this.
Yeah.
Did you have any of those pivot stories? And then we're like, yeah, we did this. But if I say that to a UK investor, they're like, you are wrong.
Yep.
We should never trust you with our money.
I don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
Complete different
Yeah.
mindset. That's actually very interesting.
Do you read?
I try to, a well-known secret of mine, I have some mild form of dyslexia, so I use a lot of Audible.
Okay.
I know what you're gonna ask him.
What's your favorite book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listening or reading. Or
I think
children's book.
I
too.
thought you were gonna
love
ask.
children's
Yeah, that's what I thought you were gonna ask him. What's your favorite children's
book? I'm gonna
book?
start asking founders that. I love children's
children's book,
literature.
yeah.
It's my biggest. Yeah.
I'm a massive Harry Potter nerd.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I got my first car, I called it like Draco. Because it was like, yeah, so like I just
Why Draco?
Just young Draco, Draco Malfoy, anything. And my friends say you need to grow up, but it's like, you need to grow up.
No, you don't need to grow up from.
Yeah.
I've even told like my kids will have to love Harry Potter.
Yeah,
There's no other option.
Yeah,
There's no choice. They'll watch Harry Potter. They'll read the books. They'll buy the wands, the robes. Everything.
Yeah. And even when I'm going to Japan, I've booked Universal Studios, Harry Potter World. So it's gonna have to go. So I'm definitely doing that. But that's my favorite children's book, and it's on my Audible all the time. But adult book.
Adult book.
Yeah, adult book that I say to adult people. I'll say like one of the most typical and generic ones, and always is like a couple of books. One of them is Pedigree by Lauren Riviera. That was a really good one, and then also Black Box Thinking. That was an interesting one for me to kind of start thinking about like how to make sure that you're thinking laterally and you're thinking outside the box, in the sense that it was a story about pilots and how pilots, especially the Japanese or pilots, have a hierarchy, and if they're about to crash, the junior pilot will still not speak out. Whereas if you look at US pilots, they're challenging each other constantly, their decision making, etc. And you need that mentality. And they looked at it as like, why are they having some of the least crashes, whereas some other cultures have the most highest crashes. And it's like that challenging aspect of constantly challenge yourself. And my co-founders like this. We're constantly challenging each other. We're constantly saying, is this the right way or not the right way? And you have to have conviction. Whatever we're doing, we make sure we do with conviction. He's a great partner for us.